Have you ever felt that flutter in your stomach, that peculiar rush that comes alive the moment someone you're secretly drawn to walks into the room?
Most of us have.
It's a subtle but undeniable sensation, like the air shifts or your awareness sharpens, and suddenly you're left wondering, do they feel it too? Does that person sense something stirring between you, even if it has never been spoken out loud? That timeless question, whether someone feels the same way, has captivated people across every culture and era. And though it can feel like an unsolvable mystery, the truth is often hidden in plain sight, just beneath the surface of words. Today, I want to invite you to step with me into the deeper waters of the unconscious. Guided by the groundbreaking insights of the Swiss psychologist Carl Jung to uncover the subtle, powerful, and sometimes startling signs that reveal when someone harbors feelings for you far stronger than you've dared to believe. Jung taught us that real human connection rarely takes place in the obvious or the overt. Instead, the truth is spoken in gestures, glances, behaviors, and unconscious reactions that bypass the rational mind, yet communicate with astonishing clarity, if only you know how to recognize them. And once you learn to see, you can never unsee. So let's explore these signs one by one and discover the invisible language of attraction. The first clue lies in the eyes, for as Jung often reminded us, the eyes are more than sensory organs. They are gateways into the unconscious. When someone is deeply drawn to you, their gaze betrays them. They linger longer than most, as though your face holds a secret they cannot stop exploring. This isn't just politeness or habit. It's hunger disguised as attentiveness.
And look closer still. The pupils tell their own story.
Pupil dilation is a reflex the body cannot fake. When someone is captivated by you, when you stir something primal inside them, their pupils widen, betraying what their words might never confess. It is the soul reaching out through biology, a silent and unmistakable sign of attraction. But eyes are only the beginning. Jung believed that the unconscious constantly seeks proximity to what it desires. If you find that a certain person always seems to appear near you, if they invent excuses to brush against your arm, linger in your presence, or strike up conversations that feel unnecessary but strangely persistent, you are witnessing their unconscious in motion. Touch is rarely accidental when attraction runs deep. A hand grazing your shoulder, the warmth of a palm against your back, or the briefest brush of fingers is not casual. It is the unconscious stretching forward, attempting to close the space between two souls. Beyond proximity lies something even more telling: emotional attunement. Think about the people in your life. Some notice only what you say. But when someone truly cares, they perceive what you don't say. They pick up on your mood before you've named it, noticing the shadow in your smile, the tremor in your laugh, or the quiet in your eyes. Jung described this as the unconscious forming an empathic tether, a kind of invisible thread that ties two psyches together. If this person comforts you on difficult days, celebrates your joy without hesitation, or instinctively shifts their energy to match yours, it's not just kindness. It's proof of a resonance that runs deeper than reason, rooted in attraction. And then there's synchronicity, one of Jung's most fascinating contributions. Synchronicity describes the meaningful coincidences that weave two lives together with threads of destiny. Have you ever noticed how someone always seems to appear at the right moment, how conversations echo your own thoughts, or how interests and tastes align with improbable precision? If you've ever exclaimed, "Well, what are the chances?" while laughing with them, you are standing in the presence of synchronicity. The unconscious creates these overlaps, pulling two lives into harmony. When such coincidences pile up, it's not randomness. It's the whisper of a bond trying to reveal itself. The body also tells its story. Jung believed our gestures reveal what the unconscious longs to hide. Watch the posture of someone who may feel more for you than they admit. Are their arms open, their torso turned toward you, their body leaning just slightly closer as though drawn by gravity? Do they mirror your gestures, lifting a glass when you do, leaning back when you lean back, or echoing your tone of voice. This unconscious mirroring is one of the most powerful indicators of deep connection. It signals alignment, empathy, and a desire for union. The body speaks the truth long before the lips do. But not every sign of attraction looks graceful. Sometimes it's clumsy. People deeply affected by you may stumble over words, laugh nervously, or fidget. They might avoid your gaze only to stare when you look away. Jung explained that the unconscious, when overwhelmed, often produces contradictory signals. What seems like disinterest may in fact be the storm of emotions someone struggles to regulate. Their nervousness is not rejection, it is intensity spilling over. There is also the matter of presence. When someone is truly interested in you, their listening shifts.
They don't just wait for their turn to speak.
They absorb. Every word you say seems to matter. Their silence becomes alive, charged with significance, as though the space between your words contains meaning they're desperate to capture. Jung connected this to archetypes, the anima and animus, the inner images of the soul. Sometimes, when you meet someone who embodies such an archetype for you, they feel strangely familiar, even if you've only just met. Time flows differently in their presence.
Minutes expand. Hours vanish.
Their energy lingers in your body long after they've gone. That is not imagination, it is unconscious recognition. Vulnerability is another profound signal. Ask yourself, does this person confide in you, revealing insecurities, past wounds, or private fears they don't share with others? Jung believed that the soul only opens itself when it feels safe, when it perceives another as an extension of its own being. If someone bears their inner scars to you, they are offering something sacred, trust, born from attraction. And what about your growth? Notice carefully. Do they celebrate your achievements as if they were their own? Do they encourage your dreams without envy, urging you toward your highest potential? Jung described individuation as the journey toward wholeness. When someone supports your individuation, it's because they unconsciously see you as part of their own unfolding story. Their joy in your becoming is not casual, it's a sign of deep investment. Yet attraction is not always smooth. Sometimes it reveals itself in contradictions. Perhaps one day they're close, attentive, even magnetic, and the next they're distant or distracted. Jung explained that the unconscious often struggles with repression, and this push-pull dynamic can reflect the intensity of their feelings.
Rather than indifference, such inconsistency may be the battleground between desire and restraint. Dreams, too, carry messages.
Jung saw dreams as the royal road to the unconscious. If this person begins to appear in your dreams, vividly, repeatedly, emotionally charged, it means they occupy a profound psychic space within you. Even if your waking mind resists it, your unconscious has already acknowledged their significance. The body confirms what the psyche knows. Do you notice your heartbeat quicken around them, your energy heighten, or a strange calm descend when they speak? These psychosomatic responses are not fantasies. They are the body's echo of unconscious resonance, a duet of nervous systems playing a song of connection. But often the most revealing signs are the smallest. A pause before goodbye, a smile that arrives unbidden, a question about your favorite meal remembered from months ago. Jung understood that memory itself can be a form of devotion. When someone recalls what you've forgotten, when they hold on to fragments of your story as though they were treasures, it's because you matter to them beyond measure. Even clumsy words are meaningful. Does this person sometimes contradict themselves, blurt out odd comments, or laugh unexpectedly? These slips are not random. They are the unconscious trying to guard what it feels, spilling over in awkward ways. Jung believed that genuine emotions often emerge in these cracks between consciousness and repression. So, when you weave together the lingering gaze, the subtle touches, the empathy, the synchronicities, the body language, the mirroring, the nervous laughter, the confessions, the encouragement, the contradictions, the dreams, the psychosomatic stirrings, the tiny remembered details, what emerges is not ambiguity but clarity. True interest, true attraction, true connection rarely shouts. it whispers. It hides in gestures and coincidences, in nervousness and silence, in dreams and details. These are the signals Jung helped us decode, the hidden language of the unconscious, the evidence that someone may feel far more for you than they have ever dared to say. Once you learn to see these signs, your perspective on love and human connection changes forever, because the unconscious never lies. That selective memory reveals more than words ever could. And then there is a sign you cannot see, but you can feel: anticipation. Have you noticed how someone seems to predict what you need before you even voice it? They hand you a coat before you shiver, they ask if you have eaten before your stomach growls, they send a message just as you are about to think of them. This is not telepathy, it is unconscious connection. What Jung spoke of when he described the subtle energy fields of human beings, how emotions can extend beyond the physical body and touch another without direct contact. When someone anticipates you in this way, it is because they are sensing you beyond what is visible, responding to an inner signal they themselves do not fully understand. Sometimes the unconscious reveals itself not in direct gestures, but in subtler echoes, in the music they suddenly begin to listen to, in the books that find their way into their hands, in the quotes they post without realizing why. They begin to resonate with your interests, your images, your symbols, as if your inner world has slipped quietly into theirs. This is no coincidence. Jung referred to it as psychic transference, a process in which two inner landscapes begin to overlap, influencing one another in ways neither consciously chose. If your preferences start appearing in their world without you ever speaking them aloud, it is a sign that something profound is fusing at a deeper level. And then there is jealousy, though restrained, subtle, unspoken. Notice how they react when someone else shows interest in you. They may not say a word, but their body tightens, their tone changes, their eyes flicker away, or their voice goes quiet. That silence is louder than speech, for Jung would say, this is where the shadow emerges, the part of ourselves we cannot polish or control, but which betrays what we truly feel. Averted glances, tightened posture, the smallest withdrawal. These are signs of unconscious desire for exclusivity, proof that beneath the surface lies a yearning that words cannot capture. Another unmistakable sign is found in silence, not the silence of awkwardness, but of peace. When two souls can share a room without the compulsion to fill the air, when the weight of quiet becomes a sanctuary rather than a void, then something deeper is speaking. Jung believed the soul finds rest in the presence of another with whom it need not explain itself. And if the silence between you feels like presence rather than absence, then you are listening to something beyond conversation. And when in the midst of all this they reveal their wounds, their mistakes, their failures, their shadows, pay attention. Such vulnerability is never offered lightly. Jung said we reveal the shadow only to those we unconsciously sense as symbols of transformation. If someone entrusts you with the parts they hide from the world, it means they perceive you as a safe vessel for their rawest truth, and you must not take that lightly. But there is more, much more, because the unconscious is an ocean of symbols, hidden gestures, and silent pulses, and when someone desires you with their soul, their truest language is not spoken with the mouth, but expressed in every involuntary act. This connection often appears most vividly in absence. Jung taught that the unconscious values more clearly what is missing than what is present, and so when you are away, they feel it with an intensity they cannot explain. Restlessness, distraction, reflection all shift when you return, as if your presence restores something lost, as if your arrival rekindles a light inside them. That change is not nostalgia. It is recognition of a bond invisible but deeply real. At times, they become your echo, not out of imitation but resonance. They borrow your phrases, your tone, your expressions, as if your voice has seeped into their own. Jung called this symbolic identification, the unconscious integration of another into one's narrative. It is a way of keeping you close even in your absence, of tethering themselves to you through language itself. Deeper still, this connection awakens creativity. When touched by your energy, they may begin to write, paint, compose, or dream with a new intensity. Jung saw creativity as the pressure valve of the unconscious, the soul's attempt to give form to what cannot be directly confessed. If you notice their artistry flourish in your presence, it is not by chance. You have stirred something sleeping inside them. Sometimes, too, there is withdrawal, not out of indifference, but from the weight of feeling. When the unconscious encounters someone who carries archetypal significance, the response may be stillness, hesitation, or even retreat, as if the soul must pause to interpret what it has found. If you see them gazing at you silently, trying to read the contours of what they feel, it is because their inner world is struggling to translate a truth too vast for words. And when a bond is authentic, even space itself reshapes. Jung observed that symbols manifest in environment, and so when they invite you into their home, their sacred places, their private corners, it is not casual hospitality. It is an unconscious act of unveiling, of offering you entry into their very story. Pay attention also to their preparation before meeting you, to the nervous energy, the restless care, even the instinct to avoid. Do not mistake it for disinterest. Jung said the soul trembles before what it truly desires, and often the unconscious dresses love in the disguise of fear, for surrendering to such depth feels like losing control. And notice the goodbye, the body that hesitates, the foot that lingers, the voice that finds an excuse to stretch the moment. Jung said the soul seeks permanence where it feels at home, and a reluctant farewell reveals that the unconscious has found refuge in you. And then there are synchronicities, the mysterious alignments that seem to weave two lives into one. You think of them and a message arrives, you dream of them and see them the next day. You mention a phrase and it reappears elsewhere like a secret echo. Jung called these synchronicities not coincidences, but fragments of a hidden order, proof of an invisible thread binding two souls more tightly than chance would allow. And this is not the end, for the unconscious never reveals its truths all at once, but in fragments, in hints, in subtle leaks of meaning. To perceive them requires not just sight, but soul listening, the willingness to hear what is whispered beneath the noise. Often what matters most is not spoken at all. It is in the unsent message, the aborted confession, the glance that drops too quickly. Jung said the unconscious speaks in symbols, tangled but honest, and if you feel a weight beyond words in someone's presence, you are not imagining it. If you sense something greater than passing interest, you are hearing a message spoken not with the tongue, but with the soul. Perhaps they have not admitted it to themselves, perhaps they cannot speak it aloud, but you feel it because time bends in their company, because their energy transforms, because silence itself comes alive. You do not need their declaration, you already know. And if, while hearing this, a certain person came to mind, trust that it is not without reason. The invisible is more real than you think. And now I want you to step into this conversation that transcends language. If this touched you, if you saw your story reflected here, or if someone you know carries these signs, share this with them. You might be offering the words they could not find for themselves. And leave your story in the comments, because your experience could be the spark that awakens another. If you wish to keep exploring the secret language of the soul, the mysteries of the unconscious, and the timeless wisdom Carl Jung left us, subscribe and stay with us. Together we are building a community of souls who refuse the superficial and search instead for the signs, the symbols, the gestures that reveal what cannot be hidden.
Because what you feel is not coincidence, it is calling.